my friend. My name is PEtrovick, and for the past 25 years, I've been teaching, coaching, and training people how to create a better quality of life, primarily through the network marketing profession. And today, I've created a lifestyle that most people could only dream about. And I have to tell you, my journey hasn't always been that easy. You know, it's been lots of ups and downs, lots of challenges for myself in terms of, can I do it? Should I continue? All the limiting beliefs that we have. And what I've discovered is that a lot of it has to do with our programming. A lot of it has to do with our philosophies. And I think from time to time, we all need people to come into our lives, share a different perspective, and point us in the right direction. A question I have for you is, why is it perhaps that some people in your company have massive success and maybe you are not where you want to be? What choices are they making? What activities are they doing that you're not? Well, I've created this series called Prosperity and the Mentors. And you're going to be learning from some of the best people in the entire profession. You're going to learn about their thinking, their habits, what they did to create abundance and prosperity, how they overcame those limiting beliefs, and how you can as well. Now, I have to share with you, my guest today has been a network marketing professional for, gosh, probably 30 plus years. He is one of the true ambassadors of our profession. He actually has the longest running and largest home-based business show in the world. He serves on the board of directors for the Association of Network Marketing Professionals. He actually has spoken on Eric Worre's Stage Network Marketing Pro Stage in the US and Australia. One of his keys, and maybe he'll share a little bit more about it, you can see it behind it, is his contact mapping strategy that he's developed over his profession. His proudest accomplishment is his 30 years of sobriety. And he's married to his beautiful wife, Denise. They live up in Longmont, Colorado. My guest today is the one and the only, Tom Chenault. Tom, thanks so much for being here, man.
I am so honored to be on this show. It's unbelievable, Terry. I'm a fan of yours. And yeah, I'm a 30-year overnight success in network marketing. So everybody watching, here's what you are going to learn from me, and that's what not to do. Because that's all I ever did my entire life was led with my chin. He told you I've been sober 30 years, so I was one of those guys that your mother did not want you to hang around with. And here we are, and today I have a whole different life filled with integrity and with love and with purpose and in meaning and discipline. And it's just a miracle. And my entire job now is to give it back.
Well, that's awesome. So oftentimes I ask people for a before and after story of prosperity. Take us a little bit behind the scenes, Tom, if you will, where you came from and kind of how you created the prosperity, the abundance, the love that you currently have. And, oh, by the way, the success, because you're one of the top 25 network marketers on the planet right now. So you've done some things right. And I know that hasn't been an easy journey.
Well, going back to getting real at the very beginning of this thing, because one of the things that was my biggest mistake was I've always wanted to be somebody else. And you mentioned that I am a recovering alcoholic of 30 years. And most of the reason that I drank was because I was trying to get away from this thing called Tom Chenault and getting into an alternate reality called anybody else, anywhere else. I did not like me very well. And that created all kinds of problems and successes, because my self-esteem was so low that the other side of that became my ego, which got to be so big. And I just was absolutely bulletproof. I was a restaurant guy, a drunken restaurant guy. I drank myself out of the restaurant business. And my dad told me, after I had just caused complete chaos in that industry, I got actually in lots and lots of trouble. My dad said, you've got to figure out something to sell to rich people. You can't be in the restaurant business because everybody in the restaurant business are alcoholics. I go, okay, Dad, what should I do? He said, I don't know. My last name is Chenault, which is a very famous aviation name. So I went from being, this was really a tremendous idea. I went from being a drunken restaurant person to becoming a drunken airplane salesman. Because in the aviation world, there's a famous name called General Claire Chenault from World War II. And so I just walked in every office. They thought I was Claire Chenault's grandson. They rolled out the red carpet, and the rest was up to me. And I just drank through that. And I was flying airplanes all over the world, just completely inebriated. But Beach Aircraft Corporation taught me to fly, and they taught me to really, really sell. And they taught me, when in Rome, do with the Romans, and do as the Romans. And so I was really a chameleon in that, but I drank myself out. They fired me. Took them a week to find me because I had an airplane of theirs, and I was just on the run, which was pretty fun. I was like the aviation Bonnie and Clyde and just flying all kinds of places, making them find me. And they finally caught up with me and took the airplane away and sent me to Denver. And one of my brothers-in-laws was a stockbroker, and I had just this unbelievable Rolodex. And for you young people, your Rolodex is where you kept all your names and phone numbers of everybody. And it was on this big circular thing, and you had that written down, and that's what I had. But I had a Rolodex from the restaurant business, then the airplane business, which was all connected rich people. So I became a stockbroker and just killed it financially. Just was unbelievable. And that was where I really found myself home. And I like to tell people that I made millionaires out of a lot of people. However, when I found them, they were multi-millionaires, so it was bad. So it went the wrong direction there too. And I finally drank myself. I got sober in 1988, so I haven't had a drink since 1988. And I got sober on September 29th of 1988. And in January of 1989, I looked at where I was, and I had made $877,000 in 1988, which was a lot of money. But when I finally figured out where I was, I realized I had also spent $1.1 million. So even though I'd made all that money, I was still broke and unhireable. Nobody would hire me. No one. I guarantee you, you can't believe it. I weighed about 350 pounds, and I was purple. It wasn't a pretty sight, and nobody wanted anything to do with me. And I couldn't figure it out because my ego was so big and my self-esteem was so bad. And I opened up a newspaper one day. After applying at McDonald's, I even applied to try to be a waiter on a railroad car, and they told me I was too heavy for the aisles, and that was just the last straw. I was getting madder and madder at it because I knew I could do something. And I opened up a newspaper, and out fell a piece of paper. And the piece of paper said unlimited income opportunity. I go, that sounds better than Taco Bell or someplace. Then it said no credit check. I'm going, this is getting better by the minute. Then it said no background check. And I started weeping, and I said, I have arrived. And prior to that, as a very, very educated stockbroker, I had sworn that, and everybody, I would, because of my big personality and my boisterousness, probably, I was everybody's multi-level marketing candidate. And I had always said that if I had a choice between multi-level marketing and living on the moon, I would ask you what the weather was going to be like on the moon. That's who I was. So I call this guy on the phone. His name was Eric McKelvey. I'll never forget it. I go, what's this? He goes, what do you mean? I go, are all these things true on this flyer that just came out of the paper? He said, yes. I said, okay, let me ask you this. What is it? He goes, multi-level marketing. And I went, awesome, because I was finally ready to hear it. And he said, he knew he had a crazy man on the phone. And he said, well, I'll send you some information. And I said, like hell you will, because I was so broke. I said, where do you live? And he's like, he knew he had a nut on his hand then. And he told me, and I said, I'm coming to your house. And I am allergic to cats. I walk in his house, and he had like 25 cats, I think. I couldn't even breathe. And I just held my breath. I signed up, and I was out the door. And that started Tom Chenault's multi-level marketing career. But I want to tell you guys all this. Number one, you never sell any wine before it's time. It was time for Tom Chenault. And number two, this is such a beautiful business that I had resisted forever until I surrendered to God and finally let go of that rope called being a prestigious stockbroker and said, I am now going to become a multi-level marketer. And I let go of the rope. I had the faith that God had it, and God certainly had it. And what I thought I would never do, what I thought I'd never be, I now am. And not only as it's given me my life, it's given me meaning. My entire search for meaning I found in this profession. How about that for a long answer to a short question?
That's a great story, and it leads perfectly to my next question, Tom. If you could put a definition on prosperity, what would that definition be for you?
Meaning.
Say more about that.
Love. I mean, what? All of a sudden, and I've gotten to the top of the ladder so many times, climbed that ladder, stepped on people's head, pushed them off, did everything I could to get up there. And I finally got up to that top of the ladder, and it felt so terrible because of the way I'd gotten up there. And I realized when I got up top, I'd leaned the ladder against the wrong wall. I'd made some money, but I didn't have a family. I didn't have anything. And finally, I've leaned it against the wall called network marketing in this profession. I've climbed up it. The view is beautiful because I have health, I have time, I have money, I have meaning. I have my family. Everything is here. It's unbelievable.
So you look at where you are today. Do you have any rituals, maybe morning rituals or evening rituals that you do every day? It's kind of like clockwork for you.
Okay, so did you write down this question? Did you tell me you were going to ask this question?
I did.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You never told me. I've never told you.
I actually gave you any questions.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal. If I'm 67 years old, I make an insane amount of money. I have an insane life. Left to my own devices, I'm in bed, sleep until noon, getting up, having some bonbons, and going about my business. But at the end of the day, no, that isn't what I do. That isn't what I do. I get up at 6 o'clock every morning. I pray a little bit, correct? Then I walk out my door at 6:28. I'm on my feet and I walk to my AA meeting. On that walk, I do a conference call for about 300 people called the Hair on Fire call. It's all vim and vigor to get people fired up to start their day. And I keep walking to a place called Cafe Luna. I get to Cafe Luna. All my AA friends are there. I'm listening to motivational tapes all the way down there, or something spiritual like Brene Brown or some Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul, something like that, to try to have my head on perfectly straight. I talk to my AA friends. I walk on over to my meeting. I'm there for 1 hour to help the still suffering alcoholic, and also to make sure that I remember that I'm not half as hip, slick, and cool as my paycheck's trying to tell me I am. So then I'm there for an hour. I walk out of there to a place called Red Frog Coffee, another couple miles down the road. Remember, I'm 67 years old. And on my way to Red Frog, I'm calling all my leaders before the competition does. I don't want those guys, I don't want any, because what we have a tendency to do is take our leaders for granted and call them last, even though they're paying us the most money. My leaders, I have them right here. I'm going to show you real quick. There's my speed dial. On the front page is my kids. Mm-hmm. And then every button's my leaders. And I just walk right through it. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. And I call them all. And I can't tell them anything because I'm a terrible network marketer. The only thing I can tell them is how much I love them and I appreciate them and what can I do for them. And usually they don't even pick up the phone because they know more than me and they know I'm going to just say I love you. So they just save that message till tomorrow. I get down to Red Frog. Once I get to Red Frog, it's phenomenal. I meet with my mother-in-law and a whole bunch of other misfits. We talk for about half an hour and I walk out of there, and then I call all my prospects off my contact mapping app, which is right there. Mm-hmm. And that is all follow-up all the time. So on that walk, in which I'm walking now down to Two Dog Diner, and I walk down there, and it takes me it's another mile and a half. And by the time I get done with this whole loop, I've done about 6.5, 7 miles. And then my wife finally gets up. She comes down. If she's in a good mood, I will have breakfast with her no matter what. We don't know what kind of mood she's in yet. But if she's in a good mood, I ride home with her. But if she's in a bad mood, I just walk home and keep calling people. And then I have done all my heavy lifting for the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can go out and do my routine of interviewing people, three-way-in people, doing what I love to do, because I got out of the way what I had to do. How's that for a routine that is not discipline, you guys? It was like my sobriety. It's not discipline for me not to drink today. It's a habit for me not to drink. It's a habit for me to do all that. And as a result of that, I got the whole 10,000 steps deal. I throw another routine in there called pick up trash, because old people like me have problems with flexibility and balance. And I'm picking up trash the whole time. And half the time in Longmont, where I live, it's pretty funny because people are pulling over all the time thinking I'm a homeless guy collecting cups and stuff like that. So they give me money, which is awesome. So another little stream of income I have. So it's humble. And I always take the money. I usually give it away at AA or someplace to somebody that really needs it. But yeah, I always take the money because don't want to insult somebody and say, hey, by the way, I could probably buy and sell you. So it's pretty cool, man.
Over the years, is there a book or an item that you often give away to people?
No, that's a great question. There's not a specific book that is first and foremost. I live inside of the 4-year career, Beach Money, Go Pro by Eric Worre, The Untethered Soul. I've read Atlas Shrugged 7 times, which is a kind of a bigger book on philosophy. But I am one of those guys that doesn't just hand people things. I try to figure out what's missing in their life and hand that to them. And in my case, believe it or not, probably the book I give away the most is a book called Alcoholics Anonymous.
Hey, that's great. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, yeah.
In the last maybe 6 months, has there been a purchase, Tom, for $100 or less that has had a significant impact on your quality of life?
A purchase. The only thing that I will tell you that impacts my quality of life at that price are headphones, because this is my office and I am on my feet all the time. So I'm constantly in that search for that perfect set of headphones that won't break down, that don't sound, so I spend more money on headphones than people probably do on their rent, usually at about $100 at a clip, because I'm trying to find that perfect set of headphones that no one knows that I'm walking and moving. And yeah, so that's probably my number one $100 purchase.
Cool.
That was a crazy question. I have no idea what answer you looked for on that one, pal.
Hey, I got a couple more, but we'll save those towards
That was a good
one. Let's talk a little bit more about business success in life. Has there been a time recently, Tom, where you maybe struggled with prosperity, abundance thinking? And if so, how'd you deal with it? Or when was the last time, how'd you deal with it?
My biggest problem right now, really, Terry, is too much abundance and reconciling it with my life, because I have got so many things coming in income-wise, and here's a guy that 30 years ago when I first got sober, my father-in-law came to me and said, Tom, you are a loser. You're drunk. I just see your car got repossessed. You've got my 2 grandchildren. They don't have a car now. You've made a mess of your life. And I go, yeah. He goes, sell those 2 savings bonds I gave the kids and buy yourself a car, you loser. And I looked at him and I said, I'd love to do that, but I already sold those savings bonds. And he looked at me like I was the scum of the earth. And the next day he came over in this 1981 Subaru that he had given all the kids to learn to drive in. And it was everybody's first car, and all they did was get drunk in it and throw up in it and all the jazz in it that you do in cars when you're 16 years old. And here I am, a stockbroker coming off of a huge job. Last year I was a broker. I made $877,000. And here this guy is giving me this car for free because I didn't have any money. And I am humbled beyond belief and ready to cry because I wanted that car so bad. So I took the car, and I was just embarrassed but thankful. And the following day, he came back to my house, Terry, and he said, I talked to my accountant yesterday, and he told me that I can't give you that car. I have to charge you $1. And I will never forget what went through my brain. And that is, where am I going to get $1?
Mm.
And I have come a long way, baby. But it comes with massive conscience problems, massive responsibility. So my biggest conflict is how much money to give to charity, how much money, in this business, you have to show lifestyle. I hope you don't show affluence and stupidity. So I work really, really hard on showing people that there is a balance there, and that this is hard work that takes a long time, but it does pay. And so my dilemmas now are not too little or anything like that. It's all too much, and that's a pretty regular thing for me.
Mm-hmm. How important has visualization been for you, Tom, on this journey for you?
Constantly. Huge visualization. I am a big goal guy. I have a giant goal right now I'm working on a material basis. I have a giant goal I'm working on a spiritual basis. I've got a giant goal I'm working on a philanthropic basis. And they're all written down. They're all where I can see them, touch them, feel them. I own them literally every minute, every day of my life. So yeah, huge on all three.
When you do your visualization, take us a little bit in terms of the mechanics of what you do.
Okay, so
you have that picture of what you want to accomplish, whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm building a really neat, a grandchild trap for my children. When you've been married 11 times like I have, you've got a lot of in-laws. That's a joke. I've only been married twice, but I could have been married 11 times. But the fact is I still have, a lot of grandparents out there that are grandparents, and everybody wants the kids and everybody wants the grandkids. And, my grandparents, right now I live in this wonderful old 1902 Victorian home that is beautiful in the heart of Longmont, Colorado, that smells like Depends and Metamucil. So we don't want that. And the grandkids come over and they're just holding their nose, and I don't want that to happen. So I bought a beautiful piece of dirt on a lake where there's water skiing, where there's paddle boarding, where there is chasing frogs and fishing, and I'm building a beautiful house there. So I sought that house out for 3 years because there's not very many houses on that lot, that lake. So I finally found the lot. I visualized that. The guy wouldn't sell it. I sat in his driveway for 2 straight days. He finally came out and talked to me, and I bought it. So then I had to figure out a house to build on it. So we drew a house and we visualized that. And now they're building that house. That's on that side. On the spiritual front, I'm really trying to be a child of God and have what comes out of my mouth, love like crazy, then love more. And be that person that is natural in spiritual things and spiritual and natural things, and never, ever, ever prejudge or disengage with anybody. I believe that religion separates people, and I believe that spirituality has the world hold hands. And I really, really pay attention to that. And I constantly try to catch myself doing exactly the opposite, because whether it's political or whatever's going on in this day and age, there's just a lot of anger and hate and rage. And I am opposite and at war, for want of a better term, against that. And on the philanthropic front, my life is filled with drug addicts, with alcoholics, and with heroin addicts. So here in Longmont, Colorado, there's a program called the Angels Program. And we are kind of the liaison between the police department, the government, and the citizens, that's us, to fight the heroin epidemic locally. Pardon me, because I really truly believe the cliche, and I'm not a big fan of cliches, that you have to think globally and work locally. And that's what I do. And that is visualized. That's real. We're in all the papers. We're everywhere. So yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations on all those. Let's say somebody you're talking to is stuck. Maybe they think they're too old. Maybe they've tried network marketing before, or to be an entrepreneur before, had a little bit of success, maybe had some success, fell back down. What kind of advice would you give them? Could you give them maybe 2 or 3 tips, Tom, that would really help them create some shifts in their thinking?
Yeah. Fire your brain, hire your heart. and stop trying to be Terry Petrovick, Eric Worre. Stop trying to be John Milton Fogg and Richard Brooke. Stop trying to be Randy Gage, and I'm using all men because I'm a man. And those are all the people that I've tried to emulate and be because I didn't like me that well. And so I finally did enough personal development where I fell madly in love with Tom Chenault, just the way he is. So the number one thing I'm going to tell all of you to do is find your best you through personal development. I don't care if you use the church, the Landmark Forum, Psy seminars, Tony Robbins, Michael Burnoff. I'm just thinking of courses that I've done and people that I love, Robert White, LifeSpring. I don't care which one it is or all of them like I do, because I know I am constantly evolving as a human being, and I want to focus on becoming my best self because I'm a terrible Terry Petrovick. I'm a terrible Fogg. I'm an unbelievable Tom Chenault, and that's what I want to be. Then I have to have the skills. The skills come from all those books I talked about earlier, Go Pro, all those books, because you've got to have them. And the person with the best skills is the person that it's not obvious they did all this work. So I'm a hot mess, and I like myself that way. I don't, I am when I walk out of a meeting, people usually look up and say, I could have done that, which is the greatest compliment in the world because I am duplicatable at the lowest common denominator. I don't have to be a movie star, good looking Richard Brooke. I don't have to be that. I get to be this total, went through the robo-wash with the window open Tom Chenault that just looks you right in the eye, that says to you, I am going to jump in the foxhole with you. I am going to partner with you. I am going to train and develop you to be your best self without getting in your way. And that's who I am. Yeah.
So if somebody is feeling a little bit overwhelmed, in today's society where social media seems like a lot of technology, they're trying to do it, but it's like so many different people are saying to do this, to do that. Gage's perspective might be a little bit different than Eric's perspective. And, how do you help people not become overwhelmed when they really do want to develop themselves personally, but there's so many opinions and approaches out there?
My entire golf game is not in that realm. I am the master of getting you to the altar. So what that means is every day I interview two people with this thing I use called the coffee shop interview. And you can find it at contactmapping.com. The coffee shop interview is going to give you the ability to know those people's blood type and ask them what they want to buy and ask them what they don't want to buy. Ask them what they love about multi-level marketing and find out what they don't like about multi-level marketing. Find out about their money, their time, and their health, but not pitch anything at them. So there you've got those people. You've got them documented, right? So nobody does that. We're all just throwing stuff at them and hoping something sticks. I'm saying interview them, get to know them, find out where they want to be, get your agenda out of there and make your agenda their agenda, and then wait a couple of days, call them back on the phone, and sell them back what they said they want to buy. And if they hate multi-level marketing, do exactly the opposite of what all those gurus say. If they hate multi-level marketing, don't call them 3 days later and say, how would you like to look at an opportunity or come to a meeting? They told you they're going to say no anyway. So why would you do that to them, and why would you do that to you, and why would you risk that relationship and prove to them that you never even listened to them? It's just stupid. So that's what I do, is it's hiding in plain sight. So I teach contact mapping. I teach the coffee shop interview. I teach documenting. I teach follow-up. I'm the best follow-up guy you're ever going to meet in your life as a result of that app right there. And then I teach the unreasonable request. I ask the question because nobody does. I ask the question. It's that simple.
And the question is?
whatever it happens to be that I want. I ask.
Talk a little bit more about your contact mapping.
Contact mapping?
And how it works.
Okay, so we got the Rolodex, right? It's so sad. You got the Rolodex. That's what we always had. Most of you don't have Rolodexes because you're too young. But most of you have got absolutely no contact management skills whatsoever. And somebody sold you a contact management system with so much more than you wanted that you're frozen by it. You talked about being frozen a minute ago. What happens if you've got all your contacts in one spot? So I hit the app right now. I'm meeting you. I go, Terry, do you mind if I take your picture? And you're going, nope. So I snap your picture. And then I've got you right there. So then we go from there to, so then the app goes, what's your name and phone number? So we ask you all that and we put that in, right? So after we leave there, the microphone pops up and it says, what else do you know about Terry? And I brain dump everything into the app and it goes right into the notes. So that way it's in there. So then the next move is, when are you going to follow up with Terry? And never is not an option. So instead of having all those business cards in your desk, which you have no idea who those people are, instead of having all those yellow stickies everywhere that you have no idea, all of a sudden you run into Tom Chenault and you can't remember me from a hill of beans. You're trying to find me in your Excel spreadsheet. You're trying to find my card with my name written up with all my info. What happens if you just open up the app and it has all my stuff, all the notes that you took on me right there? 30 years sobriety, drives a Tesla, has a Tesla 182, a Cessna 182 airplane, all the things that are interesting to me. And we're talking and you go, Tom, you still got that airplane? I go, oh, Terry, I love you. You remembered me. That's it. And then so many people, you have no idea how many people go all the time, every day. You know what people say to me every day, which just pisses me off? Hey, Tom, when are you coming to wherever they live? I go, I'm coming there one of these days. Great. Can't wait to meet you for a drink. And I just want to punch them in the face because they don't even remember they never knew me when I had a drink. Yeah. Unless somebody's known me for 31 years, that was absolutely inappropriate. But they don't remember me. Just noise coming out of their mouth. And they hurt my feelings. It's just crazy.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It totally does. Totally does.
So I ask Eric Worre. I call him on the phone. I go, how's Marina? How's Taylor? How's Dominic? How's Daniela? Eric Worre, as big as he is, sobbing because I ask about the 4 most important things. Richard Brook, how's your beautiful wife, Kimmy? How's Haley? John Milton Fogg? How's Katusha? How's Anais? How is Rachel? How is John? How is Ella? Those are his kids. Mm-hmm. You have to remember what's important to them. Mm-hmm. That's what this app, Contact Mapping, does for you. It's right there at the bottom. You see it? I click it. I'm caught up on I should have my son come in with his app. Are you caught up on all your follow-ups?
No, but
okay, let me show it to me. Okay, so mine has no follow-ups on.
Right.
I'm totally in integrity. This is Adrian. He's the one that designed this app. Climb in there. Say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
Hey, Adrian.
But you see all his follow-ups right there that he hasn't done? Yep. They're waiting for him right now. And all it does is say, okay, follow him up. And then he either calls them, he emails them, or he texts them. And then it says, what'd you talk about? He has to speak that in. Then it says, when are you going to follow up next? And he moves it out a week. With all my leaders, Terry, this is very important, it's 1 week. Because I'm going to call all my leaders. The guys that are paying me the most, I call them every week. Mm-hmm. Never miss. It's magic. That's what contact mapping
I love it.
is.
I love it. Let's go back to that stuck scenario maybe. Let's say somebody believes, Tom, in everything we've been saying about prosperity and personal development. And they go to Todd Falcone seminar. They're all jacked out of their mind. They're all excited.
Falcone and Carla. Falcone is a fraud. He hides behind the skirt of his wife, who's a rock star, Carla. I love Falcone. He's on my list, and there aren't many people I would turn my team over to. Falcone's one of them. So's Eric. Go ahead. So's Brooke.
So yeah, great, all great guys, all great guys. So they go to that event. They're excited, and you know as well as I do, for a lot of people, it lasts maybe a week. How do we get people to get in the game, stay in the game with the same motivation, self-discipline, so that they continue in the game, so that they can create some success for their family?
It's called, for me, it's the gift of desperation. I never pray for people to be sober. I never pray for them to make $10,000 a month in multi-level marketing. Doesn't happen. I never pray for them to be healed of whatever it is that they've got going on in their life. I pray for them the gift of desperation. They go figure it out for themselves. Because people told me forever to quit drinking. All the evidence was there to quit drinking. People looked like crazy on me for multi-level marketing. And in my case, at age 67, I had to completely reinvent myself health-wise to go into older age. And so I gave up gluten, grains, and sugar. And I tried it for a while like it was a diet, like all the keto maniacs and all that jazz. And, I diet like I drink. The day the diet's over, I go start going crazy again, and I can't do that. I had to have the gift of desperation where, like sobriety, like multi-level marketing, like my health, Terry, it's life and death. This is life and death to me. Network marketing is life and death to me. Sobriety is life and death to me. My health is life and death to me. That's my marriage, life and death to me. It has to be that way. And for anybody to make it in this business, which is as hard as anything you've ever done, because you have to fire your brain and hire your heart, and it's an unnatural act. Me being sober is an unnatural act. Same thing with network marketing. It's an unnatural act that you have to remind yourself until you've got the discipline to turn it into a habit. And once it's a habit, it goes on. Cool, huh?
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. All right, let's shift to a couple of lighter questions and we'll wrap it up. Let's say you had the ability, Tom, to send everybody tomorrow morning a message on their phones. What would that message say?
Stop relying on other people and believe in yourself.
Love it. Love it.
That's about line. That's about everything.
Yeah. Is there a mantra that you've created for yourself over the years that you repeat to yourself quite often that just helps you show up with authenticity and integrity and to be that person that you want?
Yeah. I think I'm famous for love like crazy, then love more. It's the common denominator of everything. It just straightens out all this political bull, all the religious bull, all the stuff, and it just boil it down to love, and you got it.
Love it. Awesome. One question, a little unusual, but I want to take people behind the curtain to get to know Tom. What unusual habit do you have, or what unusual thing do you really, really enjoy?
My secret pleasure is late night TV, binge watching of Netflix, Amazon, all that stuff that I always tell people not to do. So, I always tell people, fire your TV, it's your money eater and all that jazz. Well, I am telling you what, late at night, about 10 o'clock at night, my wife's getting ready to go to bed, and I go find some TV show to dive into. And it can be something as silly as Seinfeld or Sergeant Bilko reruns, because I love that guy, or it could be Breaking Bad. I'm like, it's the only addiction of mine I really want to hang on to that's probably not good for me.
I love it. Thanks for sharing that. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, Tom, maybe learn a little bit more about your contact mapping system, how do they connect with you?
Go to contactmapping.com. Send me an email. I am a completely generic guy there. It is, I'd like to tell you to come into my company and do all that jazz, but I'm way beyond that. I mean, my goal now is to change the world. And I'm going to change it through contact mapping. And I'm going to change it through being a good human being and showing people their most valuable asset in their life is their Rolodex, the people they know, and to treat them better. So find me there, or go to tomchenault.com, or call me on the phone, which none of you cowards will do. But here's my phone number, 720-840-7222. When Jeff Sokol, it was so funny, calls me on the phone, I go, what's he want? He needs bail money. He's moved up to Montana. He wants money to get out of jail. And it wasn't that. He called to tell me that I need to know, I need to be on your show. And I've known of you. I'm like in awe of you. I'm scared of you. And he said, can I give Terry your phone number? And I said, sure, because I knew you'd never call. And 5 minutes later, my telephone, this phone here, not this texting machine, not this emailing machine, not this photo machine, my phone rang, unknown number, which is my favorite number in the world. I pick it up and it's you. I started weeping and we talked. It's unbelievable. Yeah. 720-840-7222. I promise you it will. I'm going to interview you. I hate to break it to you. I'm going to interview you. And I'm going to find out what makes you tick and how I can help you with no agenda. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I just love who you are. You are such a bright light, such a strong rock, but such a soft kitten in terms of your heart. And I just really, really acknowledge and I appreciate who you are. And I look forward to seeing what you're going to create, because I know it's going to be significant.
We're changing the world. Terry, thank you very, very much. I love you.
Thank you, Tom. I love you too. So my friend, hopefully you got some value out of this interview with Tom. He's an amazing individual. Go back through these notes I'm sure you've taken and check out his websites. Shock 'em, call 'em, for crying out loud. I just absolutely love that. I believe that you have greatness in you, and take to heart what Tom says, be the best version of you that you can. And yes, you might get roughed up a little bit by life, but that's okay. That's just going to make you more polished and better in the future, because somebody right now today is waiting for you to come into their life. Remember this: you deserve prosperity and abundance. You absolutely do. It's up to you to create it. My name is Terry PEtrovick. Until we meet again, make it a better than terrific day and a prosperous one, my friend, because you absolutely deserve it. Until next time, bye-bye for now.